Have you ever looked around your living room, or maybe that kitchen drawer where things seem to multiply on their own, and thought to yourself, how did we gather so much over the years? Maybe you've wondered, quietly, if life might feel a little lighter, perhaps even a little happier, if the piles and stacks around us weren't quite so high. We're about to talk about something that can make a world of difference, both for your home and your peace of mind. Today, we'll explore gentle, sensible ways to organize your space. No rushing, no pressure, just the kind of thoughtful tidying that makes daily living a bit easier and a lot more comforting. I'm Albert. Thanks for spending these next few moments with me here on Golden Age Wisdom. This is a place where we all try to make sense of the little changes that add up to a better life, especially as we get older. Organizing your home. At first, it might sound like a chore, but it can also be a gift you give to yourself. We're going to chat about how to do it in a way that feels just right for our stage of life. Let's look at how we can make things easier, one small step at a time. We'll talk about why it matters, how to keep our favorite things without drowning in clutter, and what simple routines can keep life running smoothly day by day. It's all about making your home support you so you can enjoy each day with a bit more comfort and a lighter heart. Let's begin. First, why bother organizing at all? For many of us, our lives have been rich in memories, friends, adventures, and yes, the knickknacks that mark every chapter. I once knew a fellow named Bill. Good man, always seemed calm even when life got busy. As he got older, though, Bill started to find little things falling through the cracks. An overdue bill on the kitchen counter, a missing pen when it was time to write a birthday card. He told me once, "Albert, my house is a scrapbook, and these days, sometimes I can't find my page." I think a lot of us have felt that way. The plain truth is, it gets harder, not easier, to find things as the years go by. And a crowded home can sometimes feel like a crowded mind. Years ago, I read that our surroundings are a kind of mirror for what's going on inside us. If the table is piled high, the mind can feel a little piled high too. On the other hand, when things are neat, calm, and easy to find, it has a way of making us feel more in control, more at peace. That's not just about how things look, it's about safety too. Clear paths mean fewer chances of tripping. Knowing where your glasses are means less stress. Even ordinary things, finding your favorite book, your cozy blanket, become a little blessing on a regular day. So, let me say it right up front. Organizing isn't about turning your house into a magazine picture. It's about helping yourself live comfortably, with more smiles and fewer frustrations. And sometimes, it's about making room for new memories while honoring the old. Now, let's walk through a few easy steps and gentle habits that can help. I'll break it down into a handful of parts, like smooth stones you might pick up on a walk, simple and steady. We'll touch on clearing clutter, making things safe, remembering what matters, and a small sprinkle of routines to keep things running well. We'll start at the beginning. The first step: understanding what matters. One of the first and most important steps is figuring out what truly matters to you. This isn't about getting rid of everything. It's about making more space for the things you love, and maybe letting go of a few things that are weighing you down. Life is a bit like a garden in that way. Sometimes you have to pull a few weeds so the flowers can grow strong. My friend Ruth had a lovely little house filled with family photographs, porcelain angels, and a shelf of teacups, each with a story. But she also had a whole cupboard of plastic containers with no matching lids, and a linen closet crammed tight with towels she never used. When Ruth started organizing, she laid out everything in her living room. Then she picked up each item and asked herself, "Does this make me smile? Or is it just here because it always has been?" It's a gentle question, isn't it? Not, do I need this, or should I throw it away? Just, does it make me happy or help my daily life? Does it carry a memory I want to keep close? If it did, it stayed, carefully placed. If not, Ruth thanked it, quietly, in her heart, and let it go. That's a practice you might try too. Maybe one drawer at a time, or an afternoon with your favorite records playing. Hold each thing, remember where it came from. If it gives you a feeling of comfort or a happy memory, it's earned its place. But if you find something that makes you shrug or makes you think, why do I have 3 cheese graters? That's your invitation to let it go. Give it to someone who needs it, or if it's worn out, send it on its way. This is a good moment to invite you. If you have a story of a favorite keepsake or even a funny story about something you let go, I'd love to hear it. Leave a comment below and let's share a little bit of wisdom with each other. The second step, making everyday life safer and simpler. Once you know what's important, organizing becomes a breeze. The next thing to focus on is making daily life easier. Sometimes that means moving things so they're safer or just easier to reach. As we get older, bending, stretching, or climbing up on a stool aren't as simple as they once were. I learned this lesson the hard way, and maybe you did too. I remember reaching for a favorite mug on the top shelf, standing on tiptoe just a little too long. My knees didn't like it. I wobbled and for a second thought I might end up on the kitchen floor. After that, no more top shelves for everyday things. I moved the mugs and bowls down to a spot where everything's within easy reach. It was a small change, but what a relief it's been. Wherever there's something you use often, coffee cups, spoons, reading glasses, consider giving them a little home that's easy to reach. Lower shelves, a basket right by your favorite chair, or one special drawer in the kitchen. It makes daily tasks smoother and your mind a little lighter. And while we're at it, let's talk about those places we walk, especially at night. Rugs can be sneaky. Sometimes they curl up on the corners or slide across the floor. If you've got a rug that trips you more than it comforts you, think about giving it a grip pad or maybe rolling it up for good. The floor isn't a place for surprises. A dear neighbor, Dorothy, learned this when she slipped on a loose rug by her front door one rainy afternoon. She'd always loved coming home to that little patch of color, but after her tumble, she swapped it for a rug that stayed put, one with a backing that clings tight to the wood. Now, she said, my entrance is just as welcoming, but a lot less risky. Clear walkways, sturdy chairs with no wobbles, and keeping electrical cords tucked away. Each change is like smoothing the path for yourself every time you move through your home. The third step, taming the paper piles. Now, here's a challenge most of us face. Papers, mail, and more papers. They pile up on the kitchen table next to the telephone or inside a drawer where bills go to hide. Organizing paper can feel overwhelming, but I promise, a few simple choices can calm that chaos in no time. Here's one idea I picked up from my friend Harold, who always seems to have his wits about him. He uses a small basket, nothing fancy, right by the door. Every piece of mail, newspaper, or flyer starts out in that basket. Once a week, Harold sits with his favorite tea, sorts through, and decides what's worth keeping. Important bills or invitations go into a folder on his desk. The rest, straight to the recycling can. Just one basket or folder, that's all it takes to keep papers from growing legs and hiding everywhere. You might try a pretty box if you're the decorative type, or just a simple tray. Whatever works for you. Medical papers deserve special care. I've found it helps to keep them in their own spot, maybe a big envelope or a labeled folder in a kitchen drawer. Medications, too, benefit from a tidy little area, out of reach of grandchildren, but somewhere you see every day. One more thought. If you're comfortable, invite a trusted friend or family member to help with the tougher stacks. Sometimes Ruth's daughter would come by on Sunday afternoons. Together, they turned sorting papers into a chance to catch up. It's always easier with a bit of company and maybe a slice of pound cake. If you've found a way to keep your mail and bills under control, I'd be grateful if you shared it in the comments below. These little routines are some of the best gifts we can give each other. The fourth step, giving homes to your favorite things. We all have treasures, those objects that make our hearts fuller. Maybe it's a quilt handed down through the family, the old hymnal with your handwriting in the margins, or that silly coffee mug from your first vacation with your sweetheart. Part of organizing is making sure those items have a special place where they can be both safe and seen. Some folks call this displaying your keepsakes, but I prefer to think of it as honoring them, the way you might set a vase of fresh flowers in the center of the table. Give your best-loved things a spot where you see them every day, or at least every once in a while. Maybe on a little shelf, or inside a glass front cabinet that keeps dust away. For things that bring back happy memories, the joy comes not just from the owning, but from the noticing, the gentle smile each time you walk by. Ruth used to keep her grandchildren's drawings on the refrigerator, and every morning she'd smile at those splashes of color, even as the art changed from scribbles to words. But what about collections that have grown a bit too large? I once knew a fellow named Bill who loved coins, so much that every drawer seemed to have a little pile of them. One year, he chose to keep just his 10 favorite. The rest he gave away to grandchildren, each with a special story. Now, he told me, the best ones bring memories, and I don't lose them in the shuffle. This is a gentle reminder. It's okay to let go of some treasures, especially if it means you can more deeply cherish the ones you choose to keep. Your life is big, but your shelves need not be crowded. The fifth step, organizing the kitchen, the heart of the home. The kitchen is often where we spend our most meaningful moments, preparing a favorite meal, sharing a laugh across the counter, or simply waiting on a kettle to whistle. It's also one of the busiest places, and clutter can creep up in the form of dishes, utensils, or old food hiding in the back of cupboards. Let me offer this image. Your kitchen, like a cozy village, with every utensil or dish having its own little home. The more each thing knows where it belongs, the easier your mornings and mealtimes become. If you bake, keep the mixing bowls, measuring cups, and whisks together in one spot. If you love your morning coffee, make a coffee corner with mugs, sugar, and whatever else you need close at hand. And those heavy pots and pans? It's kinder to your arms and back if you can store them down low, within easy reach, instead of wrestling them from a top shelf. Every so often, take a peek at your canned goods and spices. Are there things hiding back there from years ago? If you find 3 cans of green beans but you only like 1, perhaps share the extras with a neighbor or a local food pantry. Ruth once told me she liked to keep a small notepad by her fridge. When she noticed she was running low on milk or paper towels, she'd jot it down right then and there. No more worrying if she'd forget. Her list was always at her side, ready for her next trip to the store. A tidy kitchen isn't about spotless perfection either. It's about making mealtimes peaceful, safe, and just a little bit brighter. The sixth step, tidy clothes and cozy closets. Closets can be tricky. They hold the stories of our lives, dresses from weddings, sweaters that kept us warm on cold nights, shoes that walked us through chapters we'll never forget. Over the years, clothes can pile up, and the closet door may barely close. Here's another gentle gardening image. Think of your closet like a tree whose branches may need a careful pruning, so the healthiest, happiest leaves can get some sunshine. Pick a nice day, put on your favorite record, and open your closet door. Start small, pull out a few things. For each piece, ask yourself quietly, have I worn this in the last year? Does it still fit? Is it soft and comfortable on my skin? If it passes those questions, it stays. If not, perhaps it's ready for a new adventure, whether given to charity or passed on to someone who needs it more. Dorothy used to keep her late husband's old cardigan, even though it didn't fit her. She held it close one more time, said a little thank you for all the memories, and then decided to donate it to a shelter. "Let someone else feel its warmth," she said, her eyes gentle. Organizing clothes isn't about erasing the past. It's about making room for comfort and making getting dressed each morning a little easier. One small tip: if you find hanging things gets harder, consider low, wide baskets for your most used items, or even a pretty hook on the door for tomorrow's shirt. The fewer choices you face when picking out an outfit, the lighter your day begins. The 7th step: setting up small routines. Now, the heart of a tidy home isn't in one big day of work, but in the quiet rhythms that follow. Routines are like the ticking of a friendly clock. They bring comfort and keep us moving forward gently. Maybe take 5 minutes after breakfast to put away any stray dishes, or a moment after the evening news to tidy up the living room. Daily habits don't need to be chores. They can be small rituals that make life feel steadier. Harold, the fellow I mentioned before, has a Monday morning sweep. It's not a fancy cleaning, just a quick walk through the house, collecting newspapers, tucking away blankets, making sure keys are in their place. "If I do a little each week," he told me, "the big jobs never get too big." If you live with a partner or family, try working together. Ruth and her daughter used to make Saturday their organizing morning, picking one drawer or cabinet each week and chatting while they worked. For those who live alone, put on your favorite music or a friendly radio show and let the time float by. And if a day comes when you feel tired or sore, remember, no guilt, no rush. The house can wait. Organizing is a kindness to yourself, not a punishment. The 8th step: memory boxes and sentimental things. Now, I'd like to talk about those truly special keepsakes. Sometimes it's hard to part with things that tug on the heart. Love letters, faded photos, graduation programs, or a lock of hair from a baby's first haircut. These are the treasures that help us remember not just the past, but the people we love. One gentle way to organize these memories is with a memory box. I keep one on the shelf in my study. Inside are letters from my parents, some old birthday cards, a coin from my days in the service, and a little wooden bird my grandson carved when he was 13. Each time I open that box, I take a quiet moment to think of the hands that gave me those gifts. If you find it hard to let go of sentimental items, consider choosing a small, sturdy box, or two if needed. Fill it with the most meaningful pieces, enough for a gentle afternoon of reminiscing, but not so much that it overflows. If the box gets too full, maybe it's time to share some memories with family, pass a photograph to a grandchild, or write down your favorite story to tuck inside. And remember, letting go of an object doesn't mean letting go of the love attached to it. Our stories live on in the telling. If you have a memory box or a way of honoring your special somethings, perhaps share the idea in the comments. I think others would love to hear about it, as I would. A gentle word about help organizing isn't always a solo journey. Sometimes our hands aren't as nimble or our eyes not as sharp as they once were. Don't be afraid to invite a friend, family member, or neighbor to lend a hand, especially if you're tackling heavier jobs. In my church community, a group of younger folks have started visiting homes every so often, helping tidy, move boxes, and sometimes just keeping company as we sort through stories and laughter. It's not just about getting things done, it's about sharing a piece of your life with someone new. Asking for a little help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a kind of wisdom. We are stronger together, after all. Making space for new joys. Organizing isn't just about letting go. Sometimes it's about finding space for new hobbies, new joys, a spot for your knitting basket, a table clear enough for puzzles, or a window ledge just right for a few fresh plants. My own brother Bill took up watercolor painting at 75. He cleared off an old desk for his brushes, placing jars for rinsing water and stacks of soft paper nearby. Creating a dedicated space for his new hobby made it easier for him to pick up the brush each morning, and easier for his children to admire his latest masterpiece on their weekend visits. Perhaps, as you tidy, you might discover forgotten supplies for a past hobby, or find room for something entirely new. Life, I think, keeps offering us small adventures if we make a little space for them. The gentle art of maintaining. Once your home feels lighter, it's natural to want to keep it that way. But here's a secret. Clutter will come back if you're not careful, like dandelions in a summer lawn. That's all right, just means it's time for another gentle sweep. As you go about your days, every time you bring something new into the house, a magazine, a pair of socks, think about what you might let go. Ruth called this the one-in, one-out rule. If you buy a new shirt, maybe donate an old one. Little choices add up over time, like soft rainfall that waters a garden. There will be days when things get a little untidy. That's part of life. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, give yourself a gentle word and start with just one small space, a drawer, a shelf, a corner. When it's tidy, give yourself a smile and rest. The rest can wait. One final thought. As I reflect on all these ideas, I'm reminded that our homes hold our stories just as surely as our hearts do. Organizing is, at its truest, an act of love. Love for ourselves, for the life we've lived, and for those who come after us. When we take care of our belongings and keep our spaces easy and safe, we give ourselves the gift of ease. And we make sure that every laughter, every memory, and every quiet moment in our home is a little bit sweeter. If this video has gently encouraged you or sparked a memory, I'd love for you to leave a comment below. Maybe you have a habit or a little routine that's helped you keep life slow and sweet. Or perhaps you have a memory of the first time you organized your family kitchen, or the last. And if you'd like to keep sharing these conversations with me about living well, aging with grace, and all the quiet joys along the way, please do consider liking, subscribing, and sharing this video with a friend who might just need a little encouragement today. It would mean a lot to me, and I hope, to them. Thank you for spending part of your day with me. May your home feel lighter, your heart feel brighter, and may you always find a gentle welcome at the end of the day. I'm Albert, and this has been Golden Age Wisdom. Until next time, take care of your home, your memories, and most of all, yourself.